Welcome to the Seattle Investor Club podcast with Julie Clark and Joe Bauer, where we share the nuts and bolts of real estate investing from our 20-plus years in the industry. Sit back, relax, listen, and immediately take action. Are you ready? Here we go.
Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate Investing podcast. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how you doing today?
I am doing awesome, Joe. Still a little sinusy. Love our guest today, Miss Christine Kwon. We've been chatting it up for the last 30 minutes. Forgot we were even supposed to do a podcast because we love her so much. But here we go. Let's kick this off so we can all enjoy the lovely summer day here in Seattle. But Joe, before we do that, what are you up to, brother?
I'm just down the street from you, actually.
You are?
I'm in South Center.
You're in South Center?
Oh, that's down the street from me.
I thought I saw on my calendar it said you were driving through. See, guys, I have Joe's calendar. I know what Joe's doing every day because it's on my own calendar. And I thought I saw that you were like driving to Yakima. Maybe I'm a week behind.
No, that you may just be a couple days behind. We're in Seattle. And we fly out to Israel tomorrow, actually.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the whole Turkish Airlines debacle.
Holy smokes. Yes, it was.
What are you doing in Israel?
So Emily gets a 5-week sabbatical from her company every 5 years. So we're taking advantage of that. And she's going to be, sipping margaritas on the beach and all that. And I'm going to be hustling, working from overseas, trying to make that work. But yeah, we have family in Israel. So we thought that would be a good time to go check it out. And
wow.
Then we hop from Israel to Italy because I have great grandparents from Italy. So I've always wanted to go check that out. So.
Oh my God. I'm going to have to tell you my favorite spots in Italy. Where are you guys going in Italy?
Cinque Terre, Rome. I think we'll try and hit the Dolomites. It depends on the snow.
Nice.
And a couple other places.
I love the Cinque Terre, boy. Ooh, so fun. Here's my tip for you when you are traveling in Europe. No matter what, every day, always have your swim trunks on. Because you never know when you're into super awesome opportunities for these awesome gifts. I mean, that's how that's the recommendation tip too.
All right.
Well, we saw the posts on that trip.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, we'll see. I mean, right now we're still not 100% sure we're going to be able to get on our flight in New York because of this debacle with Turkish Air, but fingers are crossed. I think we're looking okay.
Oh, great. Now my mama bear feelings just crept up and I'm going to be rocking myself to sleep again.
Well, worst case scenario is that we're in New York, so things could be much worse.
True that. Well, all right. Well, let's get cooking here today. Today we have with us, guys, one of our most beloved Seattle Investors Club members and all around just rock star of a friend, Christine Kwon of Rock PI. Her husband is Olivier. I never know how to pronounce his last name correctly. Rignon. I want to say it all French-like.
You're not the only one. I have a hard time pronouncing his name too, which is why I kept my last name when we got married.
Yeah, because you can't even pronounce his name. So Rock PI, Christine's with us today. Olivier's off. We'll just make up something cool. He's off. I don't know what he's doing off today. He's off. Maybe he's cashing checks is probably. But Olivier is mother of 3. Is that right?
Well, Christine is a mother of 3, and Olivier is father of 3.
Sorry.
Sure. Yes.
And head number cruncher for Rock PI, keeping everybody in line with their growing empire. So we're gonna let Joe kick us off. We're gonna skip the normal tell us your life story question because this is Christine's second time on our podcast. If you guys want to check out the life story of Christine and Olivier, we have podcast number 32 that you can refer back to on the nuts and bolts of real estate investing. It's called Husband and Wife Powerhouse Couple, how we do it. That was me trying to be funny. Get it, Mary? How we do it. But you can hear the history of how they met and how they got started on that podcast number 32. But other than that, Joseph, I'll use your Israeli name, Joseph. Kick us off.
All right. So we've had you on the podcast before, and I recommend people go and listen to that for sure, number 32. But Christine, fill us in. How you doing? What are you guys up to right now?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I mean, we are definitely doing good. We are busy. We still flip, and we also expanded our business, and plus a bunch of kids. So we always like go, and busy.
Heck yeah. So you guys you guys have scooting around a little bit. You're buying up some buy and holds and, this and that. And I don't know how you guys keep up. What about summer fun trips? What are you guys up to?
Well, we actually do have a lot of visitors from all over the world every year. So this year, instead of we going out, we have people flying from Texas, people flying from Korea, and I just have somebody flew from Hawaii. So that's kind of like our plan, just continue to entertain our visitors.
Nice. I know, I'm just curious because you and I are in the same boat. I have twin girls, 10 years old, turning 11. I mean, it's crazy. They're like preteens almost. It feels like it's driving, it's bittersweet, I'll say. But how do you make time to do family stuff? Do you guys schedule that, or do you pretty much fly by the seat of your pants, kind of like I do? I'd like to say I schedule it, but I a little bit fly by the seat of my pants. Luckily, we have so many awesome friends. It keeps me plugged into doing stuff with my family all the time. But how do you guys do it?
So I'm a planner. I literally, I used to have a calendar, divide by 15 minutes. So I will plan everything. And, I like to do things on schedule. So now, recently, we started actually having family movie night. So once a month, we take kids and then we go to, watch kids movie in the movie theater. So they love that. And what we also do is we have every Friday night, we actually have a family movie night at home. So most days they'll go to bed around 8:30, but on Fridays we let them, watch the movie and we make popcorn and, they get to spend more time. So that's kind of what we do. And then other than that, because the weather is better, we're trying to do at least a couple hours of a hike on weekends. So that's all can really afford at this point since we are always so busy. But trying to make sure that kids do get one-on-one time with us, and also as a family time
exactly.
too.
I think my kids are older than your kids. Mine are turning 11 this summer. And my tip for you, which I learned from somebody else, which is super cool, is make your house the hangout house. Mm-hmm. So we have tons of play dates over here with all our little friends, and it keeps me plugged into all the kids, what they're up to and what kind of fun stuff. We just had a lemonade stand last weekend, mixing in a little of the entrepreneurship. It's so funny. Last weekend, the traffic was a little slow on the lemonade stand. They couldn't get people who were driving by to stop. So you know what they did? They turned it into a drive-through. So they literally hold up a sign and kind of make people stop. And instead of making them getting out of the car, they walk up to them like it's a drive-through and deliver the stuff to them. Then, this is after my own heart. I think I'm rubbing off on my kids. They still wanted more business. So they knew everybody was outside mowing their lawn and this and that. They literally went door knocking. And they were delivering lemonade and cookies, and they were door knocking for their lemonade stand. How much? You gotta love that. Those are Julie.
That sounds fantastic.
Yes, good stuff. So, all right. Well, enough with all our fun stuff there. We could go on forever. So today, everybody, what we are going to be talking about, we have Christine back because these guys just crush it. They're super experienced. I'd say that out of everybody that I've met in the last 5 years, when I first met Olivia and Christine, I was like, oh my God, let me watch and see what these guys are going to do. And of course, they have blown my mind and continue to blow my mind with their continued business success. They know when to pivot. They know when to add on new streams of business ventures. These guys are leading the forefront here for us, or one of the top doers here in Seattle. And today, based on all their experience, we're going to talk to Christine about best practices. We're going to wind it back a little old school and a little sort of rehab and construction 101 on best practices and how to manage a construction project efficiently that is, and maybe in compliance or how to protect yourself and stuff like that. We're just winging it here. We're going to see how it goes. So I'm just going to kick it off and ask you a question here, Christine. So you guys are general contractors, correct?
Yes, we do have a license.
You have a license.
Mm-hmm.
And do you guys usually hire subs directly, or do you hire just GCs that then hire the subs?
We do both. We typically don't like hiring subs directly because, obviously that comes with a lot of liability, and it also, it's beyond our expertise. But what we learned is a lot of contractors, they are on the same boat. Not all contractors, even though they have a GC license, are, expert on having a plumber in place or having an electrician in their pocket or anything like that. So depends on the contractors we hire. Sometimes we help them out bringing our own electrician, or not ours, but somebody that we know or we done business with. So the reason we decided to get the license is that, it's definitely helps us to have that safety, because we are compliant, right? We get to hire different subs if we need to. So we have that in the pocket instead of like, hey, let's just hire under the table. And if somebody reporting, we'll be in trouble. So we just want to make sure that protect ourselves, by having the license in place.
Very,
but that's
very
not
good.
the intention.
A good little nugget there that I don't know if you guys heard that I'm going to kind of pull out of the conversation is that if you're new or semi-new, or even if you're experienced and you're just super ass busy, you can get lazy. When you think you're making money and I've noticed this, when you're kicking butt, even if you're super experienced and busy, you have a lot of projects going on. Sometimes you get desperate to hire people. And the truth of the matter is there is just a ton. Since everybody in town these days is a real estate investor, and they're taught by some of these gurus and whatever to go get your general contractor's license. And it's not difficult at all to get it, right? It's paperwork and some fees.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That you really need to know, guys, when you are interviewing these general contractors, or somebody tells you or they're a general contractor, what are some questions that they should be asking these guys to filter out the paper GCs? And I imagine paper GCs aren't out there necessarily promoting general contractor business as their own, but I'm sure there are also some who are maybe doing that. Are there some questions that you would ask, or some references? Do you ask them like, how many subs do you have or do you work with, as kind of a filter question, or what do you think?
So one of the things we do, obviously our case, we don't do phone interviews. What we do is we ask them to meet us at the site, and we just do the walkthrough. So, we'll always bring our scope of work and then our spec document, and then just to do the walkthrough and trying to get, how much of experience they have. And, depends on their answers. It's not just about, to have ability to actually do the work. How do you do the payments? How do you follow the change request? There's a lot of different questions we ask on top of like, do you have a skill to lay the tile?
Exactly.
So, based on that outcome, we'll make a note in our, whatever the paper we have. And then, usually we interview about 3 different contractors. And then, Olivia and I, we will kind of get together. We just kind of go over our notes and, hey, this contractor, even though their price is lower, it seems like they don't look like they can actually follow the processes we lay down, because we want to run a business. We don't want to just hire random people. We want to make sure that whoever we hire, they know, here's the standard process. Can you follow it? Here's the change request process. Can you follow it? So we look at a lot of different angles to make sure it's not the cost is not the only thing. It's more somebody who we can do business in the long term.
Right. You just get them on in person. You can tell a lot about people when you're in person with them. Absolutely. And ask leading questions and stuff like that. And I agree from their response. Even doing that, guys, with your own homes and hiring people to do work on your own homes is it's crazy how much people try to take advantage or don't really know anything. Let me ask you another thing then. Do you have any trouble ever? I mean, for newer investors, I mean, you guys are Rock PI. You have tons of projects. You can tell them you flip X amount of homes a year or whatever else is going on. And they probably are happy to run over there and talk to you, right? But for newer people or people that don't have as much experience as you, they might have trouble getting people to just come bid the job. I don't know if they do or they don't, but I'm wondering if they do. I guess I'm suggesting that maybe they might, because all the contractors are so busy. Do you have any suggestions, for newer real estate investors in order to actually get somebody to show up to bid it? Maybe they lean on the group and say, hey, if you come over, I'm part of a larger group, Seattle Investors Club or Fixated on Real Estate or whatever. And, I know hundreds and hundreds of investors. You do good by me, I'll introduce you to the rest. What do you think?
Yeah. So based on our experience, what is important is, first of all, you want to work with somebody who's going to pick up the call, right? And then follow up. You don't want to be the person who has to call 1,000 times to have somebody come out. So to me, if I'm a beginner and if I'm calling some number and if they don't answer the first 2 times, I don't contact them at all.
Move on.
Yeah, because there's no point if somebody has a hard time to follow up on me, where's the point? That person will be the same. And I think a second thing is that if you can find somebody who's experienced, like, either us or whoever else, just work with them the first project. I think that partnering with somebody who's experienced in the first project or maybe even second, you save so much time and energy, and you reduce the risk.
100%, 1,000,000% agree, and that is what I tell everybody. What's interesting is that if you're a real estate broker and you have no experience or you haven't done 3 deals in the last 12 months, you are required, I believe, by the state of Washington, the Department of Licensing, to have a mentor. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you're not even losing any money getting a real estate license just as a new real estate agent. As a new real estate investor, you are about to drop a shitload of money into a very risky situation. And it should almost be like a code of conduct, ethics, whatever thing that more experienced investors are willing, able, and available to help newer investors. So if you are out there and you want to join in my tribe, or I'll say our tribe, because me and Joe Christine, we're all in the same tribe, with that type of mentality of helping people and helping people level up. That's what we're all about here at Seattle Investors Club. But I am 1,000,000%. If you've never done a deal, you need to partner with somebody. And if you're looking for somebody on who you can do that with, then you just need to contact me, and I'll tell you how to do that later, and we'll hook you up. So we'll just keep cruising there. That's a very, very, very valid point. I'm going to keep cruising. So do you guys have any actual employees, or just you and Olivier, aside from your administrative office employee?
So all the other people that we work with, they would be more like a 1099, like more contractor relationship. We did have like project manager, not like W-2, but it's more like, we pay them based on the commission and the base.
Right.
And the same as, we have somebody who does listings for us, and, it's more like not based on like 1%, 2%, or 3% commission. It's more like, hey, we guarantee this many listings per year or something like that. So pretty much everybody that we work with is more like a partnership relationship. And we do have, our office assistant. We also have different employees too.
Excellent. Awesome. Good stuff. So I'm going to jump into, I'm going to go like a chronological order, at least from my own silly brain here, on how a rehab project comes together from the construction side. So we're not going to talk about deal analyzer stuff or costs or construction costs necessarily today. We're just talking more about best practices on how to go about kicking off a construction project. So let's start with a scope of work. Do you guys do each house with a custom scope, or do you have maybe like 3 different types of design plans that you choose from with colors and finishes? I guess that would be mainly due to your volume. Some people love to customize every house, and some roll the other way, more of a machine. How do you guys do it?
We are more of the machine with a little custom in place. So when we did so many flips a year, we had literally templatized. Every house gets the same cabinet. Every house gets the same countertop, same color, and same floor. It's much easier when you have a volume because your contractor knows exactly what has to be done house to house. But then I think it's starting like last year, there was a shift in buyer side where they were tired of like cookie cutter home,
Right.
Yeah, before people like, oh, white kitchen, oh, like this kind of flooring and all that. But then people's taste changed. And, as an investor and running a business, you have to adapt to the demand, right? You cannot just do your own. So we still do mainly the same. We have the same color paint for interior, and we have like, trims and all the same, but we're trying to change a little bit of like, we go bold and tiles, like we have like really very shiny, fancy designer like tiles in place. Even though you still have the same white cabinet, it just pops so much compared to like, regular subway tiles and things like that. So we're trying to kind of customize only few areas, but we still keep the standards so that, when our contractors work on two different houses, they don't get confused and they can move their leftover materials from the one house to the other.
From a broker's perspective, I'll sprinkle on top there that not only do I think that buyers, wanted to see some other things, but I think part of the reason I feel this way is that there are so many people flipping homes, right? There's so many flips out there. It's kind of like, I think buyers are savvy, and in the Seattle area at least, and they can walk in and go, oh, this is a flip. If not them saying that, their agent, the buyer's agents will sniff out, oh, this is a flip, right? Mm-hmm. And when they sniff out that this is a flip, I think that the scrutiny is just up a slight notch, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it got boring for a while where people, oh, it's the same, like you say, cookie cutter flip. And it was that buyers would just buy anything. They just needed a damn house. They had a hard time. If they could get one, they'll take it. But now the buyers are much more slowed down. We're back to multiple offers, on good solid houses that are priced well. But I think the buyers are more choosy. So I do rethink for all you flippers out there that it does require some level of differentiation, or you look like a postage stamp and it's a turnoff because buyers aren't in a rush and they want to feel that they're in control of the process these days. And part of that is just like the emotional, mental that, oh, my house doesn't look exactly like everybody else's house, which I think when we were in the high times back a few years ago, it was starting to all look the same to me. So good little sidebar comment there. So on your team then, Christine, like who goes to Home Depot or Lowe's and buys the material for your projects?
So our contractors do. So as a part of the initial contract documents, we have several different documents as a package with the contractor. One is a scope of work where we list out, we want you to do this kind of work. But we also have a spec doc, where we list out all the materials and we put like, obviously like where the material can come from and, item number, even to the item number and color and picture of the samples and all that. So our contractor
that's the old Fortune Builders model, right? Where you like have a picture of it, the SKU number, all that. You guys do that?
Yes, we do. Obviously we kind of customize to fit into our need and, in the way that our contractor can actually use it. Because I think the Fortune Builder template was a little too hard because it has so many different pages for it and there's a lot of different issues. So we modified it to fit our need and easy enough for our contractors actually can use it. But what we do is we don't try to like a internet order or anything. We want to make sure whatever we want our contractors to get is from a store where they can go and easily buy. There's no delay on 2 weeks of a delivery or anything. So it's going to be either Lowe's or Home Depot. And what happens is we have our account set up. So we have our, the company pro account set up with both Lowe's and Home Depot. And our contractor can go to the store and then they pick out the materials based on our spec. And then the pro account, they will send us like text to confirm. Sometimes they'll call us and we just confirm. We can review what they're buying and then we can just confirm. And what's good about that is basically contractors, they don't have to pay out of their pocket because it's our account and they're basically buying the material under our account. So we have a 100% control where we are be able to see what they are buying. If they are buying the correct materials, we are paying those materials, so we get all these the credits or points from our credit card companies and
Good one.
and the contractors, the reason we decided to do this is at the beginning, we weren't doing this. We basically paid them the whole amount and saying, hey, here's material plus the labor. But we learned that our contractors are usually not that good at managing money, most of them. So by the time when they have to buy materials, they already spent all the money. And they ask for, well, can you give me advance for another part of the project because we don't have money to buy materials. And so that's been becoming so much of a problem. And plus, we don't know if they are spending money correctly. And they didn't know how to estimate, how much the material is going to be. So there were a lot of issues. So we're like, let's go with the model where you go to the store, you know exactly what has to buy, just buy under our account, we can review it and we just approve it, we pay for. And all we pay you is labor. And they are happy and then we are happy.
Right. And so how do you get a pro accountant? Is there any qualifications? Do you have to have a general contractor's license to get a pro account at Home Depot or Lowe's?
Oh, I totally can remember. We had pro account for about 3-4 years now. I don't remember if you actually have to have a contractor license. I don't think so, but I can be wrong because
Do you have a contact at like Home Depot or Lowe's that like every time, or you don't even do it because it's just all online. You're just proving it on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. But it's funny because we have so many different projects and all over Greater Seattle area. So all the pro accounts, like all different locations like Home Depot, they know us. Like
Right.
they don't know our face, but they know Rock PI.
Right.
One time when I went to the store just to buying something, my personal use, and I went to the pro account, they're like, are you the owner? I'm like, yes. I'm like, man, I have all sorts of contractors coming in every single day. And buying it, like I always wonder who owns the company. So
You know
we
what you
spend a
should
lot.
do? You should go give all the people on site at Home Depot in the pro account, go give them a Rock PI trucker hat or t-shirt.
Yeah, that sounds great. I should do that. I never thought about
Do
that.
that. And then like a big, send them some pizzas once a month and, just say, I'm just saying free advertising. Those guys will love you, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, actually so Home Depot, we spent a lot of money with them past couple of years, and they actually sent out their corporate rep to our office. I think it was like 3-4 months ago. And they basically told us that they're going to connect us to like all the wholesalers. So yeah, they don't, and then they, basically told us how we can get special account beyond pro account. So
I don't know why my mind just wandered into some sort of side business related to that, but I won't go there today. Well, let me ask you a question. Is there any significance on who buys the material and who delivers the material to the site in regards to responsibility or legal stuff or L&I? I mean, like maybe best practices or in regards to like if there was a trip and fall on, I used to remember something about this, like if there was a trip and fall on site on one of the projects and somebody tripped over some material that was at the project, does it wind back from the insurance adjuster's point of view on that, on who delivered the material or some crazy shit like that?
Yeah. So I think it's not the delivery itself. It's that who pays for the material. That's what we were told. Obviously, I'm not an attorney, so you probably want to talk to the attorney regarding this. But as far as I know, if I think if I pay for the material as a homeowner, I think I'm responsible for like any kind of issues they may have at the site. So, which is why we have actually general contractor license, because with the fact that we are not regular homeowner, we run this as a business. When we buy materials, it's very different from regular homeowners buy materials. So if you are a flipper, you definitely don't want to buy materials or pay for if you don't have a general contractor license, because now your liability become like much greater.
There you go. That is the distinction right there, guys. So I'm sitting here listening, but she says they do buy all their own stuff, right? But the reason why they can do it, where some of you may not be able to do it, is that they have a general contractor's license. So if you're flipping, you're just hiring GCs and you do not have a general contractor's license of your own, then you should not be buying the material. You should have the GC buy it. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Very big nugget for you guys there today. Well, that makes sense. Well, speaking of trip and falls and injuries and getting sued, who do you guys use for your insurance on your flips and buy and holds and stuff? Do you have a insurance group that you love?
Oh, we have so many different companies. I mean, depends on, obviously we have like rentals with a different insurance company, and then we have like all the flips with a different company. And so we have about 3-4 different insurance companies, and depends on what types of business we have, we use different ones. So for the flips, we actually do use a State Farm because apparently they give us the best option.
And we've had Nick Soy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, on the podcast. Joe, maybe you can link Nick's podcast to this at the bottom of the show notes.
You got it.
He's State Farm, and he was. If you guys haven't listened to this podcast we did with State Farm, I'm sorry, Farmers, not State Farm. Are you meaning Farmers or State Farm? Is that different?
They are different, and I actually misspoke. So we use a State Farm for our rental properties, but for our flips, we actually use a Farmers.
There we go. Yeah. So, Joe, you'll link that. That makes sense. Okay, little tip for you guys there. Insurance, number one thing you guys don't want to screw up on. So if I were you, I would listen to that other podcast, or I would reach out to other investors in your community, whether you're in Seattle or Spokane or across the great states here, because I know we even have people listening in Oregon and the Midwest and things like that. Make sure you guys are totally dialed on your insurance stuff. Let me see. What else do I have here? Let's see. Do you get you get discounts at Home Depot and Lowe's if you do a certain volume?
You do. You definitely do. But the discounts that I was seeing is not amazing. But like, for instance, what happens is they do, if you purchase more than certain amount, then you get to be in the next bracket for higher discount. So, when we purchase like appliances, because we usually have 3 to 5 projects at a time, minimum, we just buy the whole appliance sets for like 5 houses at a time to get, instead of like 9% discount on top of whatever the discount they already have, we end up getting like 12% discount and things like that. And 3 to 4% difference in $10,000-$20,000 is actually big enough of impact,
Right.
So we try to purchase at bulk as much as we can so that we can actually increase our discount percentage.
So speaking of your awesome system, do you have any credit card tips for us while we're talking about saving money and making money as you're buying material? What kind of credit card do you guys use? And I know people choose credit cards based on the rewards and the points and how they apply and things like that. But I imagine you guys have done research on that and chosen something super stellar, if you're willing to share what type of credit card you use.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not that good at. We haven't really done a lot of research. We probably should do more. So we've been using American Express for business, American Express for several years, and that's what we use to purchase any kind of materials or any kind of expenses, because I'm a firm believer of using one so that we can accumulate that big gigantic points. But another reason we've been using American Express is if anything happens, they are the best one to roll back. So if you just say somebody went and decide to purchase something totally personal and we don't approve, and somehow it went through, then I can just call American Express and say I don't recognize this purchase, and then they will just take care of it. So it kind of helps me to deal with these kind of purchases that we don't want to approve for.
Right.
So we like that part of American Express, and other things, obviously, all the mileages and things like that comes with that too. But I know there's much better credit cards out there, and I know a lot of people like Sapphire, Chase credit cards, and there's probably a couple other ones that people love about. Obviously, I haven't done that homework yet, but we plan to kind of review different credit cards this year and see if we should stick with American Express or move on to next one.
You can do the research, or you can call our friend Adrian Chu. He seems to be on top of all that stuff. We had him on the podcast last week, so you guys, if you missed that one, we could talk about that a little bit with Adrian, if you want to check on that one as well. But okay, I'm going to move on here. So chronologically on a project, at what point do you start ordering materials so you get off to a quick start on your deals? Because in our business, time is money, right? So at what point, like the day of closing, you're, at Home Depot, or you've got your guy standing at Home Depot and 8 o'clock the next morning? How does that work once you close?
Yeah. So it goes back to, when we put our specs first. So, because we do specs. So once we are under contract to buy a property, we already super busy, trying to, list out all the SOW, and that we, trying to complete the specs and everything even before we do closing. And we're already working with the architect and all that. So by the time when we close to buy, then, we have a blueprint. We are ready to, ready to apply for permit. We already been interviewing our GCs, and they, we already defined all the scope of work and specs. So we do all that usually before the closing, so that we are ready to roll from the day one. In terms of exactly when to buy, when we pick out the specs, we try to make sure that we don't put any kind of materials that will take 2 to 3 weeks of order. So pretty much anything we put it in there are already available in the store. And if it is a custom order, then we'll most likely put an offer like about 2 weeks before we need the material, because most turnarounds are 2 to 3 weeks for most part. But we rarely have any kind of materials that will take 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks of purchase. Even the doors, we try to pick the nice door, but it's mostly available in different locations.
Is there anything that you keep like in stock, like a house worth the stuff ahead, that that are the first things you're going to touch or anything like that?
We try not to do that, because then, like obviously we need a space to store it. I know there are some people that, who will rent the storage and they buy bulk of materials and store there because they get discount. But to me, any kind of inventory just sitting on your storage, it's actually cost. It's not really an investment. That's how I see it, because now you have to have a space. You need to have people who's going to come and deliver those, things. And maybe some of the, maybe like design changes, or there are a lot of different reasons why we prefer not to have anything in stock. And we prefer to like buy per project, that way that, we don't have to keep the inventories.
Makes sense. So when you guys go in and look at a deal the very first time, and you're going to make an offer, are Olivier's in there counting up all the windows and doors on your initial walkthrough? If he decides, yeah, this is a good one, I want to make an offer, is he, counting up all that stuff so you guys can nail your construction budget? Or at this point, because you're experienced, him and I were talking about this, I don't know, about 6 months ago, do you guys use numbers like, well, this is an $80,000 house, this is a $125,000 house, this is a $160,000 house? How detailed do you get at this point?
We get pretty detailed. So definitely not. I mean, as soon as we do the walkthrough, when we are evaluating the deal, we look at every single details, and we make notes. So we know that, hey, these are standard windows versus these are custom windows, or, we can tell, what kind of work has to be done. So we capture all of that. And then, once we come back and once we finish our due diligence and doing underwriting, then we're like, okay, this is the cost and what's going to cost and take. So based on our experience, we can tell, to replace the window to, from whatever they have to standard of a pane window, we know the cost and we just multiply. So it's really having experience help us to quickly come up with, all the
Which
costs.
is exactly why if you're a new investor or even have a couple under your belt that were kind of rocky, you need to partner up with a more experienced investor. Yeah, you don't get all the money, but guess what? You don't lose all your money either. And you get to see how an experienced pro runs the show. So I'm going to keep moving here. So what materials, just quickly, do have the most lead time that you need to order quickly? Is that windows, or what would be the top couple, like, better get those ordered? Those take 2 or 3 weeks. Custom doors.
Anything that is not standard, you have to look into if the window takes about 2 to 3 weeks turnaround if it is not something you can find in the store, and same as the door. And surprisingly, we had to order custom size closet door. Those is folding closet door. It took us about 3 weeks, and it absolutely blew my mind. I'm like, it's just a door. It's just a different height. And you'll be amazed that just because it's a different height, it's not standard. It takes like 3 weeks turnaround. And if there's an issue with, once you get it, then now you have another 3 weeks before you get the correct one.
So for all you guys that are just getting started out, that have a little extra free time on your hands, it's a good idea to go stroll through Home Depot and Lowe's and get to know what the custom in-stock stuff looks like. Would you say that's a good idea?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just understanding what is standard, what is not. That saves your time. So you definitely don't want to order something not standard, like 1 week before you close or to finish the construction, because you won't find it. Most likely not.
So what types of subs are the hardest to keep? Like drywallers, painters? What do you think? How often do those subs turn over for you?
In our case, I think the plumber is actually easiest one to keep, but the electrician is harder to keep. One of the reasons is because they're the one that raising their price faster than any other subs. So they're first super busy. Second, they're just like expensive each month. So somehow they think that they can charge more. So electrician has been the hardest one for us to keep just because the raise of price. I think that's the hard one.
So if you're out there and you're an electrician and you're listening, or your brother or your dad or your uncle or your sister is an electrician, connect them up here. They'd probably get a lot of business, right? Everybody should be thinking about, who do they know? People get like in a box in their head, right? When they put on their investor stuff, they jump into the investor world and talk to their investor friends and go to the investor meetups. But the reality is, guys, where the wealth is, where the extra people that nobody knows, that nobody's touched, where the free leads are outside of all that stuff. So real estate and real estate investing, if you ask me, is a lifestyle. And the sooner you realize that you want to open this up to your daily life, to have the lens on that whenever you come across anybody in your outside of your investor circle, that's a great place to meet people and contractors and everybody. Like, who do you know? Do you know any good electricians, for example? Or do you know anybody that, has had a house that's troubled? People forget about that. There's free leads and free referrals outside of the investor community. They come to the investor thing, they plug in, and then they turn it off when they get outside of that world. And it's actually better to turn it on supercharged outside of your investor community. where nobody else is playing, guys, is what my point is. All right. So do you guys, I assume then you have separate contracts with each, well, no, you hire GCs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And those GCs, do you have one contract with them, or do you have like a contract with the electrician, or the old fortune builders model way? How do you guys do it? One contract with the GC?
Well, we have one contract with the GC, but when we make the payment, just say if it is plumbing or electrical or anything related to stuff, we basically write the check directly to the sub, and then we make them to sign the lien waiver.
Right. Lien release. You guys need to have that. Do you have a real estate attorney that you like?
Yes, I do.
Who is it? Do you want to tell us?
I might have to charge you for it.
You don't have to share it with us, but...
Well, so we do have a couple of different lawyers with the retainer. So when you do only one versus when you have so many projects, obviously you are more exposed. And you have to have different types of a lawyer, even within real estate. There are a lot of different types of lawyers. If you're looking at eviction, is one type of lawyer versus
Right.
you're looking at contract. So we have several different lawyers that we have a retainer with, and we use them or we work with them in different cases. So
valid point though. Different lawyers for different specialties. Even lawyers, even real estate lawyers have different specialties.
Yep.
Well, if you don't want to share yours, I can say a couple.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I can definitely share. So for the eviction, because we have actually quite a few rentals. But so we have one lawyer who's really good at negotiating, or not the negotiation, like really good at fighting in the code, or say any kind of resolution types. His name is Steve Contos, Contos. He's with the McFarland Law, and he's part of like groups of lawyers there, and they've been really great. They know ins and outs of the law, any kind of contract related of issues that you may have. You can definitely contact them, and you're welcome to email to me, and I can introduce as well. I think he's been by far the best lawyer that I've seen to resolve any kind of contract related issues. We also have eviction lawyers that we do like. I think somebody shared to us recently.
Kevin Loeffler.
I think so.
Loeffler, he's the tiger in town, definitely. Mm-hmm. Actually, I think, Joe, have you reached out to Evan? I think we're trying to get him on the podcast. But Evan Loeffler is a tiger on evictions, that's for sure.
Oh, good to know. I should make a note. Hopefully, I don't have to hire eviction lawyer too often.
Yes, or you could just ask me to show up and call him with my rough around the edges voice and give him a little scare, right? There you go. Okay, well, we're going to start winding down here because I have meeting one of our friends here at Bongos. Shout out to Bongos. If you haven't been to Bongos over by Green Lake, one of our buddies, Matt Smith, is part owner in that, who's also a rock star real estate broker in town and wholesaler, investor friendly. I think you guys have bought some stuff from him before, haven't you, Christine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've been to that restaurant too. It's very good.
It is the jam. It's my joint. It's like my Friday office. So if you guys are ever looking for me, 12:30 on Fridays, you'll find me at Bongos most of the time. If anybody wants to have lunch with me at Bongos, message me, hit me up, julie@seattleiinvestorsclub.com. So let's see. What is the hardest part of the rehab process that you guys have experienced? What do you think is the shittiest, like, crap, I hate that part thing?
Honestly, I think the hardest part is keeping good contractors. That's the hardest part of the rehab. It's not the challenge you have with the house itself. And it's because construction is construction, but you usually find one good one and you have a good relationship. And after 3 to 4 projects, they're always somehow it just doesn't work out.
They get lazy.
Yeah.
They
I think
slow time you. What they do is they start getting slow time on you. They take their time.
Yeah, I think other issue is that one thing that you have to understand is when you hire general contractors, they're not just the contractors. They have to run their own business too, because they're hiring their subs and they have to pay different dues and all that. And a lot of times the reason we are losing our contractors is because they are good at contractor work, but they're not good at running their business. So usually like 1 year mark, and when they realize that they haven't paid their taxes for the businesses, or they having issues with paying their subs and all that, that usually come up about a year mark. And it's keeping people who can actually do a good job at work, I mean the construction as well as running their own business, has been the most challenge for us.
I think Charles' secret sauce on that. Hopefully, I'm not. He told me in a crowded room, so I think that I know this. But his little secret sauce on that, or it used to be, I don't know what he does anymore, and I could be totally wrong. So take this with a grain of salt. Is that he would I think help set up the contractors to have a better efficient business, sort of train them and get them set up with some systems, and they would be interested to come do work for him because he was going to assist them in kind of setting up their business to run a little smoother, which in turn was helpful for him because he got a contractor who actually had a smoother run business. Sounds time consuming, but probably fruitful in regards to getting some contractors, sort of, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
take that
definitely.
with a grain of salt, everybody. And Tarl, I'm sorry, I love you. Hope I didn't do secret sauce, but I don't think you whispered that one in my ear. So, if you guys know our buddy Tarl, Fixated on Real Estate, another meetup in town that I'm sure you guys have all been to or you should get to. Okay, so at what point do you pay your GCs their final payment? Do you wait till the house gets has its inspection because there's a punch list and you want them to show up?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So what we do is once they are done with all the work and we make the payment, but we kind of have a little reserve to make sure that, it'll actually cover all the punch list. So we pay pretty much all, but we keep some sort of small reserve so that big enough that, they will definitely want, come back and, fix it. And then once we do have inspection, so we usually try to bring actual home inspector to the inspection instead of us doing punch list, because that way that they can actually really find out the beyond what we can see on the surface. So once
Do you mean that before you list your flips for sale, you have an inspector come look at it before you flip it?
Oh no, I mean after.
So you complete your project and you have not listed it for sale yet.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have somebody walk through?
Yeah.
Is that Troy?
No, we used to work with Troy, but we have a couple of different inspectors. Obviously it depends on the availability of inspector, right, and also parts of the town. So we have a couple of different inspectors we use, and we try to bring them as soon as the construction is over. We have about a week period between staging and listing it. So that's the time that we will bring the inspector. They will do extra home inspection. We pay for home inspection, and then with that list, we can go back and even.
But do you provide that? Do you ever provide that on the listing, or you just keep it?
So that piece we don't provide, but what we do is we basically ask our contractor, hey, here's our punch list. We don't give the inspection report, but we give narrow down, work item, right? So once they are done with all this, then we take pictures and then send it to the inspector. And a lot of times inspectors will update their report with remove all these items that we took care, and then then they will give us a new copy with a lot less problems, and then we offer to share that inspection with the second one.
Got it. Now, do you guys send a home inspector in on the purchase when you buy flips? I know a couple big players in town that they either use that as a tool to get the price down, and generally they just want to make sure they're not missing anything because they're so goddamn busy that they want another pair of expert eyes making sure they're not, buying a problem that they missed. How do you guys roll on the front end?
It really all depends. I mean, sometimes we do the same. Sometimes we bring an inspector and, trying to negotiate down more. But, most properties we buy is really a good job. So we know we literally have to do everything. So we don't really have to bring an inspector. And, most of those deals that we buy is already pretty much negotiated to the T. So, there's kind of no point of doing it.
Right.
But if we are buying like cosmetic fixer, obviously we want to bring an inspector to make sure that things that we don't see with our eyes, can be captured.
Foundation stuff and things like that. Okay, awesome. Well, that's kind of what I've got rolling today for you guys. Is there anything that you need help with? Like, dang, I wish I had somebody, or I need a referral for this or that. I'm kind of sitting atop the tree here, spinning out referrals and connections for people. I love doing that. So if there's anything that you need, that you guys let me know, because I talk to a lot of people and a lot of people come to me, and I'd love to hook you up with anything on any referral of any type that you need. So that's that my offer to you. If people have questions, or they want to check out, how do they can find you on social media, or how would you like people to contact you, or what do you want people to even contact you about? Maybe deals, hotel deals maybe, or any type of buy and hold rentals, or what are you guys looking for these days?
Well, so we actually have quite a few single family rentals. We have about 11 single family to small multifamily rentals, and we also have Airbnbs and some other businesses too. We are reducing our single family rentals, and we're trying to move to more like an apartment or hotels or any kind of business, more like operational business. So if you have any types of business that will be definitely interested, it doesn't have to be a hotel, it doesn't have to be apartment, it can be any kind of business and just cash flow, and maybe needed some changes in operation. So that's just something that we'll definitely love to. And any kind of commercials, basically, we do have enough people in our network that will be interested in all sorts of commercial deals. Like just yesterday, one of our network, asked me if we can help them to find commercial building in East Side. So if you have any deal, just reach out to me via social media like email or Facebook, or any kind of way. If you have my phone number, you can call me too. And we can kind of go from there. And if I have somebody that I know, or maybe myself who will be interested.
Okay, and if you guys can't find Christine, you can always message me, and I'll make sure that I give you the connection there. If you can't find her on your own, which is got to live under a rock, pretty much. Rock PI. Whoa, what a good tip. Dang, I didn't even plan that one. That was good. That was good. Well, all right, guys. Thank you for listening. Joe's going to have some show notes and some links to some of the other podcasts that we've referred back to in this podcast today. And Christine, you and I and our crew of kids and our everything else we got going on, we are due for a date on the beach down here over in my hood, and I hope to see you guys soon. I'll connect with you offline about that. But Joe, where can everybody get the details? Oh, before we do that, little admin thing here, just want to remind everybody that if you want to join us, in fact, you're crazy not to join us, every week on Tuesdays from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., we have a small group roundtable mastermind, one-on-one help with experienced investors. All experience levels are welcome. Experienced new, whether you're a broker or you're a lender or you're a wholesaler or you're a comedian, because we like jokes. You guys need to come and join us. We're actually going to be starting having a few of these in different locations because it's so popular. This small group mastermind format is like absolutely spectacular. If you haven't been to one of those yet, come find us on Tuesday in Burien at the Elliott Bay Brewhouse and Pub, and keep plugged into meetups and just look up Seattle Investors Club on meetups. And it would be great if you guys would RSVP on there. I would appreciate that. You don't have to, but that would be helpful to me if you would. On meetups, look up Seattle Investors Club for those events. And we'll see you soon. Hope to see you on a Tuesday. Christine, you should pop by sometime. I know you're crazy busy, but we're not too far from your guys' office. Even if you came by to say hi for 20 minutes, be like a celebrity sighting.
Well, I would love to. Is it every? Did you say is it
every single Tuesday from 12
wow.
p.m. to 2 p.m. And right now we've been having those at the Elliott Bay Brew House and Pub. If you guys are not on our email list to get notification of those reminders for that, as well as the emails being dropped or these podcasts being dropped right into your inbox, you guys should shoot my partner Joe an email at joe@seattleinvestorsclub.com and he will get you hooked up.
Got
because
it.
I'm not responsible enough to keep track of everybody's emails. I'm the non-responsible one of the Joe and Julie team. So, Joe, where can everybody find the details of today's podcast?
Yeah, so you can get the show notes if you prefer to read or would like to read after you listen to this by going to seattleinvestorsclub.com/75. That's seattleinvestorsclub.com/75. Also, make sure that if you like this show that you subscribe because you can do that for free. And we love to get reviews. And one last housekeeping note, we have the next large Seattle Investors Club event on June 25th with Drew Niffin. And
that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, so head over to our website to get all of the information. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. at the Renton Technical College, and that as well will be on Meetup. So we'd love it for you to actually RSVP on the Meetup, and it will be under Seattle Investors Club along with the weekly meetings. So,
and Joe, that's not on the weekend; it's on a weekday.
It's on
correct?
a Tuesday, I believe. It's
Tuesday. So the SIC quarterly event is coming up June, what do we say, 25th?
Yep.
On a Tuesday, guys, make note of that. No longer are we doing Saturday stuff. Julie Clark is anti-weekend stuff. A little more family time for me. That's why we've switched everything we do to a weekday, so I can stay out of the bad mom zone, right? So join us. Can't wait. Drew Niffin, total rock star, and partners with Michael Blanc if you're into apartments. And we've had a previous podcast with Drew. In fact, why don't you link that one to the bottom of this so you can give everybody a heads up of what's the goodness coming down June 25th from Seattle Investors Club.
You got it.
Right on, guys. All right, over and out. I'm going to go to bongos. Whoever last one to bongos buys. So I'll see you guys there. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.